Hey, shalom, Israel. You're the Isupk. Start out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana, Priest and Officer Lapayad out of Florida. And this is the Orlando Brotherhood class. Just gonna wait for some people to come in here. True.
Hey, shalom, Lord of Christ, sir.
Hey, shalom, Lord Christ. What's going on?
Not much, not much. Getting it together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, we on live. Yeah, so this is the Florida Brotherhood class. Every Tuesday. We're normally in the Hart Memorial Library down here at Kissimmee. So if you're in the Central Florida area, you could check us out on Tuesdays. Normally 6:30 to 8:30. We be down in the library. So make sure you check that out. Get in class. We're gonna get right into it. Salaki. Let's wait a couple more minutes. All right, Troop, you good? You ready to read?
Always, sir.
Let's get it then. Let's get it. All right. So we're gonna jump right into it. The topic today we're gonna go into is Adam and Eve, and we also go into why your woman will leave you. Um, I'm pretty sure everybody been, taking a look at what's been going on in the world. Pretty sure a lot of people got questions. Type your questions in down in the comment box. Um, we'll get those answered for you. If I can't answer it, I'll definitely get the answer for you. And we're gonna go ahead and jump into the topic. Um, so one of the greatest misconceptions of the Bible that we've learned in the Christian church um, is the story of Adam and Eve. Now, we're not gonna go into the creation story, but we're gonna start uh, right where the situation with Adam and Eve and the serpent began. And just to clear up a lot of misconceptions that Christians have and people who just, regular common people who don't really read the Bible may have heard of it, but don't understand it, which is the majority of the world outside of the Isupk. They don't understand these scriptures, right? So the Most High uh, has his prophets here, who can break this stuff down. I mean, we stand on corners every Saturday, you know what I'm saying? And we come out and we teach because we want the truth to be told, right? Our oppressor has been lying on the Most High for so long, right? So long. And so even in our families, we got families in the Christian church, people that don't even go to church, that don't even realize that they Christians believe that Adam and Eve were the only two people on earth, and that's how it started. So again, I'm not going to go into, I'll save that for another class when we go into the creation part of it, but we're going to pick it up where Adam and Eve Eve actually encounters the serpent. A couple quick things I just want to knock out in the beginning. Number one, Adam and Eve were not the only two people on earth, right? They were not. That's number one. The second thing is snakes don't talk. Snakes don't talk. And the biggest thing about this is black people, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, we talk a certain type of way. And the spirit that we have is of the Most High. We talk a certain way. We talk spiritual, right? So, of course, when we talk, there's a certain way when we talk that you have to be a part of us to understand it. What do I mean by that? So, for example, once you learn that the Bible is a black man's book, once you learn that it's a Hispanic book, once you learn it's a Native American book, so called, Once you learn that, reading it will become a lot more easier. The breakdown will become a lot more easier. Understanding in Genesis that, the Most High is using allegory and using metaphors, which is how Black people talk. We talk like that all the time. And that's why a lot of times the other nations don't really understand us. And what they try to do is, make us a byword and say, like, we talk slang. You know what I mean? That's their way of interpreting what we say. But really, we talking spiritual. And I'll give you an example. Like I said before, snakes don't talk, and they never have. But I'm pretty sure in Israel, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, I'm pretty sure you know a snake. I'm pretty sure you know a snake. We had them in our hoods all the time. We use it as a way of defining a person's character. For example, calling somebody a snake, right? Calling somebody a dog. You know what I'm saying? Even just like I said, the way we talk. So we're gonna find out, that snake was actually a person, and we're gonna find out who that person was, because that's important. And not only is it important, but understanding what's happening in Genesis is gonna tell us and show us what's happening today. You need to know who talking to your woman, right? That's the B side of it. You need to know who talking to your woman, right? And you're gonna find out who's speaking to your woman, right? And why she want to leave you, why she will leave you, right? So we're gonna get right into it. Troop, if you could for me, let's start at Genesis 3:1.
Con out of one con, sir.
Mm-hmm.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made.
So it's starting out by telling us that the serpent, right here in Genesis 3, was more subtle than any other beast of the field that the Lord God has made, right? So what is he talking about? Now, we'll get deeper into it, but just so you understand that this is referring to people. When it's referring to beast here, it's talking about the other nations. That's what it's referring to. But this beast, this particular person, this serpent was more subtle than any other beast of the field. Meaning he was more slick. You understand what I'm saying? The things he say is real smooth. You won't even see him coming. He's subtle. You know what I'm saying? Like a snake. Most of the time when you see a snake, you don't hear him coming down the road. You know what I mean? You don't hear him slithering. You just kind of see it. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of look down and it's a snake and he up on you. You right? You know what I'm saying? So this is saying that, that beast, he's more subtle than any other beast in the field, in the world. Right? And we're gonna find out who that is. Keep going.
Con out of one con. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden?
So right off the top, we have Eve here, right? And she's encountering the serpent. Now, again, the Christian church, when they get this, and our oppressor gets this, because he don't speak like we speak, he look at this and he says, okay, this is a snake talking to a woman, because he saw the word serpent, but not understanding how Blacks and Hispanics and natives, how we talk, he's going to take it literal for face value. But again, what do we say? The book of Genesis is composed of allegory and metaphors. And what is an allegory? An allegory is a story within a story. Basically, so while we're talking about trees in the garden and, fruit and stuff like that, we're really talking about a conversation in people. It's a story within a story. While we may have a situation where we're talking about neighbors throwing stones, we really are talking about nations fighting wars, if that's understood. So that's what an allegory is. So we're trying to get across a story, but we're telling you a story at the surface level, but it's something deeper than that, right? So what we know so far about this serpent is that it's the most subtle beast of the field, right? That the Lord God has made. So this is a sneaky bastard, right? Like a snake, right? And again, with Blacks, Hispanics, and natives, that's how we refer to people. You've been in the hood. Well, what do we call somebody who is a who snitches? Troop, you know?
Shit, we call him a rat, sir. Salaki, if I may.
A rat. A rat. We call him a rat. Now, I ain't seen no 6-foot rat walking around here. I ain't seen that. But that's how we refer to people who snitch. We call them rats, right? Somebody who's always like kind of easing his way in, easing his way out, taking stuff. That's a snake, man. And that's how we refer to people, right? And that same language that we have, that we speak today, just off instinct, is here in these scriptures. So imagine if our oppressors get a hold of this book and they read that, they don't understand that. They don't understand, you know what I mean, what that means. They just put it in there as face value, right? And then the whole concept, kind of sidebar, the whole concept of Adam and Eve and them being the only person, I'm sorry, Salagia, the only people in the garden, the first people, it started from those two, came from a painting, man, back in the Renaissance period, right? And I think it was Michelangelo between the 14th and the 17th century. He painted a picture of Adam and Eve being naked with the apple. You know what I'm saying? So we got that in the Renaissance period, right? Right after the Dark Ages, right? What's going on, Troop?
Shalom, Lord Christ, sir.
Shalom, Lord Christ. Right. So that was in the Renaissance period when we got that, right? So read that, start at the middle of the verse where he says, and he said unto the woman. Start there for me, Troop. Troop can
Kind out of my gun, sir. And he said unto the woman, Salakia, Genesis 3 and 1. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden?
Right.
And
Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. So he's asking her a question here. So did God say that? Now, Christ already know. I'm sorry, not Christ, Salagia. The serpent already know what was said. That's why he asked the question. Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. Already coming in with persuasive ways, right? And he's talking to the woman, right? Now, just so we know who this serpent is, I want to pull a precept. Go to, if you could for me, hold that and go to Revelations 20 and 1, if you could for me. It's important that we identify these characters and who they are, because just like they are in the beginning, they're referred to that in the end. We go to Revelations, it's talking about this, and we're gonna read about it.
Kind of my gun, sir. I got it. Unless Trooper Razan want to read it.
Whoever got it can read it.
I got it for you, sir.
Go ahead.
The book of Revelations, chapter 20, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand.
Right. So this is John right here having a vision, right? He's having a vision and he's telling us what he saw, right? Keep going.
Come on, verse 2. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent.
That who?
That old serpent.
That old serpent, right? Keep going.
Which is the devil
mm-hmm.
and Satan.
Mm-hmm.
And bound him 1,000 years.
And bound him 1,000 years. So what is this talking about? Anybody know what this is referring to?
Salaki, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Is this talking about the Dark Ages when we was in rulership?
Right. Basically, when it says, you know, he saw an angel coming down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, a great chain in his hand, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent. Now, that old serpent he's talking about is the serpent we talking about in Genesis, just so we know, just so everybody understands. That's the serpent that we're referring to, right? Which is the devil, right? A lot of people, especially when we out on the street, they come up to us and they ask us questions like, well, how can the white man, or how can our oppressor be the devil? How is he the devil, right? Because in the Christian mind, they thinking that the devil is some guy or some being underground,
right,
with a pitchfork,
right,
you know, poking people when they come down to hell, I guess. I don't know. But he got on like red tights and he got like a tail or something like that. I don't know. But this is what the Christian church believes, right? This is in their mind. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Greek mythology. You know what I'm saying? Most of the Christianity, mostly all of it is built on Catholicism, which still stems from Greek mythology, all the things that they believe. You understand what I'm saying? Believing that it's a man underground, you know what I'm saying, that's in charge of fire, you know what I mean, that's opposing the Most High. You know what I mean? He's the Most High God. Who can oppose the Most High? Nobody, right? But this is how the Christian church had taught us the Bible, because the oppressor doesn't understand it. So he used his own private interpretation and gave it to us, and we went with it, you know, right? It sound good, right? It sound like a good story. It sound like their Greek mythology, right?
Right.
So even in this scripture here, 20:2, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So yeah, you're right, true. This is talking about the dark ages. And so what happened was, you know, our oppressor, right, was free at one time and ruling. And the dark ages came, right, which is a time where black people ruled in Europe, right? There's a lot of good books that talk about that, that talk about the dark ages, right, which is basically when black people ruled Europe. During that time, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, they bound him 1,000 years during that time, right? So he had no influence on the earth like that. You know, black people ruled. But then once he resurfaced, he was bound 1,000 years, and then he was let loose again, right? And that's why you have the Renaissance period. And the Renaissance period is where, after he's loosed for his time, the Renaissance period is the time where he came back and he gave you a white Jesus.
Right.
In that Renaissance period is where he painted white Jesus, and all the disciples painted him white, right? It's the same thing we got with Michelangelo, who painted that picture of Adam and Eve with the apple being naked. This is a heathen trying to interpret our scriptures, and this is what you get. This is what you get when the heathen tries to interpret your scriptures. Instead of understanding the language, he gives you two naked people, a man and a woman, the only ones there, with some fruit. And they're talking to a snake, right? This is straight out of a movie, straight out of the white man's brain, basically, right? All right. So again, yeah, you're right. It's the dark ages. He was let loose. That Renaissance period, 14th century, between the 14th and 17th century. Michelangelo painted the Adam and Eve, I think, in the 15th century, something like that, right? Let's go back to Genesis. I just wanted to give that brief history so you understand who we're referring to. So when it's talking about that old serpent, it's talking about that devil in the beginning, the serpent that was talking to Eve, right? Snakes don't talk. So this is a man, and every black and Hispanic understand that, because y'all know some rats. Y'all know a rat. What do they call Tekashi 6ix9ine right now? They call him a rat. He even did a video where he had a rat costume on,
right?
Because that's how we figuratively speak about people, you know, in certain instances, and we attribute animal characteristics to them sometimes, right? So a rat, you know what I'm saying? You a snitch, right? A serpent, he a snake, you know what I'm saying? Sleazy, sneaky, you know what I mean? That's a snake, right? So yeah, let's go back to Genesis. Where's we at? 3 and 1.
Yeah, kind of, sir. We at verse 2.
Verse 2. All right. Go ahead. Read that for me.
Kind of. Genesis chapter 3, verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit.
Right. So let me stop you right there. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, right? So he asked her a question. Did the Most High say, you know, you should not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman responded and says what? Read that again.
Kind of. We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden.
Keep going.
But of the fruit of the trees which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Right. So what does that tell us? Right off the top, what that tells us is that Eve was given instruction as well from her husband, Adam. So Adam was given the instruction, and he gave it to his rib. He gave it to his wife. And that instruction was for them that they can eat from the trees of the garden, But that tree that's in the midst of the garden, don't eat of it. Don't even touch it unless you die. Now, again, this is figurative language. This is an allegory. So we're not talking fruit and trees. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about philosophy. Think food for thought. You know how people say that? Let me give you some food for thought. You know how like you get ideas and people say, let me digest that. You give somebody some information. They say, I need some time to digest that. Now, there's no words actually going into their stomach for them to digest it. They're reasoning. And that's what this is what's happening here. So again, we're not talking about apples and oranges. We're talking about philosophy. We're talking about the way of life, the way you do things, the way you carry yourself, right? So the serpent says, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent, go ahead, go to verse 4 for me.
Come, sir. Verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die.
And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die, right? So already we have an issue here. And that issue is Adam was given a word. Adam was given the law by the Most High. Adam, in turn, gave the law to his woman. So she knows what to do and what not to do. That's clear here, right? So this serpent that comes up, which is the devil, like we read in Revelations 20, which is the devil and that old serpent, he comes along and says, I understand what your man said. I understand what your man said. And I understand that your man got it from God. But I'm here to tell you that that's not true.
Right.
You're not going to die. This is what he's saying to the woman. Now, Adam ain't nowhere around at this point. This is just a woman and a serpent, or a man is what we're saying. This is a man, right? Go ahead, keep going.
Come. Genesis chapter 3, verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
For God doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open,
Mm-hmm.
and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Right. So here we have the serpent telling Eve, number one, you're not going to die. I know what God said. I know what your man said. I know what Adam said. Adam said that, God said y'all going to die if y'all do that. If y'all eat from this tree that's in the midst, you're going to die. But I'm telling you, you're not going to die. And not only are you not going to die, but the Most High knows that if you do eat of this tree, of these philosophies, and you take on our way of life, if you do this, right, he understands that if that happens, he's telling her you will be as a God, knowing good and evil. Knowing good and evil, right? So let's break that down a little bit, right? Now, the important part here, again, I want to emphasize, because this goes into the entire thing we're talking about here, right? This breakdown of Adam and Eve, and when we understand this, we'll understand that this is happening today. This is literally what's happening today. And I'm going to go and we're going to read through the story, but just as a cliff note, right? Understand that today, that serpent is still here. It's that old serpent. See, we read it in Revelations, but this is the old serpent. So if we read it, the Revelations is the end, what's going to happen, right? That's where we at right now in the Revelation. So guess what? That same old serpent is the same one talking today. Now, your woman ain't outside under a tree with an apple in her hand talking to no snake.
Right.
I hope she not. I mean, was some of the things that we're seeing on the internet in these churches, they might be. I didn't see church leaders grab snakes and get bit by them and end up dead trying to prove a point because they don't understand the scriptures.
Right.
But this is still happening to this day. And you ask, like, how is this happening? How is the serpent still talking to us all these years, all these millenniums, all these thousands of years? How is he still talking? Well, listen, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news, but if you look at it, what's happening with Roe versus Wade? is not did not the oppressor tell your woman that it's okay to abort her baby? I understand what they're saying right now. They want to overturn it, and they're gonna turn it over to the states and all of that. But guess what? Guess who's making the decisions on this? Guess who made the decisions? It wasn't Black and Hispanic and Native people. We weren't the one that put the abortion laws into practice. We weren't the ones that built up the facilities and qualified the doctors and showed them what to do. We weren't the ones that did that. There was an oppressor that did that. And that oppressor is the white man. The white man did that. He's the one that's in charge of your government right now. Joe Biden, I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but I think Joe Biden just said that, listen, I know what the court said, but I'm going to overturn that. It should be a woman's right to do what she want to do with her body.
Right.
That's who's in charge. That's who rules over the United States. That's who rules over people. That man, that serpent, that's a serpent. That's a snake, right? Keep going. We should be at start at 5 again. Genesis 3 and 5.
It's like you, sir. My mic was on mute. We at verse 6, sir.
Come on, go ahead.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof.
So when she saw it, she saw that the tree was good for food. That's Genesis 3 and 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes and a tree to be desired to make one wise, it's crazy that rhymes like that. She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat, right? So this philosophy that the snake gave to the woman, she saw it was good for food, man. She said she saw it was good. This tree is good for food. It's pleasant to the eyes. Is that not what our oppressor does to us today? Do they not flash a lifestyle in front of us? Do they not sell us dreams? Do they not give us lies and perpetuate, a continued rebellion against the Most High and the things that he will have us to do? Does he not do that?
Right.
Does he not give us those lies and we partake in and we see that is good? He shows us the American dream. He shows you that, right? He gives you the picture, the nuclear family, the man and the woman with the children, with the job. He shows you that you could be anything that you want to be in the earth. You can grow up and do amazing things. This is the lies and the things that our oppressor gives us, right? And we see that is good because we see the statues that he erects and the buildings and all those things. We see that and we say, okay, this is good for food. Look how they are prospering. Look how they are prospering.
Right.
The white man will say, and our oppressors will say anything to get you to buy into the lie, to get you to buy into it, right? This story of Adam and Eve is way deeper than the Christian church makes it out to be, obviously, because they don't understand it. But not understanding Genesis here in this encounter with the snake and the serpent, as they say, and this man with Eve, you're not going to understand what's happening today. And that's why a lot of our Christian churches, all of the Christian churches, and anybody outside of the Isupk don't understand. Is not understanding, not being able to see what's happening in the world, especially with our women, right? With our men too, but today we focusing on this part right here, right?
Right.
So she took of the fruit. She took what he said, understanding what he told her not to do, took what he said, and not only did she take it and believe it and saw that it was good, what did she do with it?
Kind, sir. And did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
And he ate. So not only did the serpent lie to the woman took that lie and gave it to her husband. And guess what? He believed it. He took it, right? Those other lifestyles, those other philosophies, right? That was in the midst of the garden that they were not supposed to learn from, he took and he ate as well. Right? Keep going.
Verse 7. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked.
Mm-hmm. And the eyes of them were both open, and they knew that they were naked. Now, again, the Christian church will read that and just think, again, with the imagery that's been given to us, right? Michelangelo paints this picture of two individuals naked, standing in a garden under a tree with a snake coming down and an apple in their hand. You know what I'm saying? We've all seen that famous picture. It's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those pictures that we see that was ingrained in us from children. It was a couple pictures like that. I remember coming up, it was a white Jesus we saw, a picture of Martin Luther King or John F. Kennedy. And then after that, it's the famous Adam and Eve picture, right? Those are the Adam and Eve pictures, and then the picture of the cross with Christ on it, right? Or Caesar Borgia anyway, right? So it says that their eyes were open and they knew that they were naked, right? So let's break down this naked and what it means. Anybody know what this means? When it's saying that their eyes were both open and they knew that they were naked, what is it saying here?
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
Does it mean that they were ashamed?
They were ashamed, right? And it's using the word naked because guess what happened? If you walk outside and you take your clothes off, you know what I'm saying, you should be ashamed. You would be ashamed if you just walking. And you ever see those commercials where they show like the lady walking and the wind blowing, her dress go up and she covers herself real fast? You know what I mean? Like, because she's ashamed. You would be ashamed if you are exposed. Right. So when their eyes were opened, they were ashamed. Why were they ashamed? Does anybody know? Why was Adam and Eve ashamed when their eyes were open?
Anyway.
Go ahead.
Because they weren't doing what the Lord had told them to do. They were doing something opposite of it.
Right. Basically. But to get straight to the point, they broke the laws. They broke the law.
Right.
They literally broke the law. What the Most High gave them to do, the serpent beguiled the woman. She gave it to her husband, and now they both are in sin. Basically. Right? This is what's happening. This is what's happening in this story. Now, again, when the Christian church gave it to it, just sounds simple. It's a piece of fruit. Don't eat it. You know what I mean? But it's a reason why this is happening. It's a reason why this is happening. It's a reason why it's happening today. Right? So if the scripture is telling us that their eyes were open and that they knew that they were naked, they were ashamed because they broke the law. So that happens today. You know, like people, a lot of times we read these stories and we don't apply them to today. That's why it's the ISUPK. Thank the Most High for the ISUPK, because our name is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. And the practical part is the part that is very, very important, because when you understand the practicality of it, you can apply it to today.
Right.
And a lot, especially in the Christian church, they don't understand how to apply it today because everything is so ooky spooky with them that they can't even see the practicality in what these scriptures is bringing out. So you can't even, they thinking that the Adam and Eve experience is over because guess what? You need a snake for this to happen. We need to see an actual snake here. Eve won't be deceived again because guess what? Where the snake at? We need a snake. Not understanding that this is a man. So if your whole entire life have been taught that Eve was beguiled or tricked by a snake, guess what you're going to be looking for when it's time for you to get tricked? A damn snake. You're going to be looking for some supernatural experience to trick you into going against the Most High. But really, it's just a man. It's just a man who is opposite and going against what the Most High said to do. Right?
So like,
Go ahead.
it's like you said, well, what you're saying is heavy, because you got to check this out. Like, okay, like how you said, like they painted them Adam and Eve, they painted them white, and then they had them eating the fruit, which is an apple. So now you tell me that the apple is a forbidden fruit. If it was a forbidden fruit back in the day, shouldn't it be forbidden today? Like, shouldn't apples be like cursed for forever? Like, nobody should be eating apples right now. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right. You know what? And I'll go even further. And what you're saying is right. I'll go even further. The scripture don't even say what type of fruit it was.
Right.
To go even further, the scripture don't say apple, orange, plum, grapes. They just assumed it was an apple. It was coming from a tree. It must have been an apple. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I live down here in Florida. I see peaches falling from trees now. Who knows? What if it was a peach? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So just the mere fact that they don't understand it, they even inserting things, you know what I mean? Like his picture shows an apple, but I don't see nowhere in the scripture where it says what type of fruit it is. But it said fruit. But again, that's the way we talk, right? That's
Right.
the way we talk. And like you said, if it was that detailed, then why are we still eating apples today? You know, why not? That's the forbidden fruit. We don't want that fruit. Let's stay away from that, because the apple was the thing that turned God against us because we ate the apple. No, it's way deeper than that. It's way deeper than that, right? Again, it's an allegory, right? Let's go to let's get John 8:44.
Come.
Now, see what's really important to you know, about this story is that it definitely gives us context as to how this situation can happen today, right? You being a man, you know what I mean, you got your household, you know, and no man wants anyone to come in and subvert him, you know what I mean, to undermine his authority, right? But the oppressor has found a way to do so. And the way he's found a way to do this is because he wants to talk to your woman. He don't want to talk to you. He want to talk to your woman. Now, I'm not saying that men don't get tricked. I'm not saying that. But in the climate that we're living in today, what I am saying is that right now, he's directly speaking to women. And why do I say that? Because of the feminism that's happening in the world, you know, the feminine spirit that's turning all our young men that's supposed to be warriors and turning them into, I don't know, turning men into women. Simple as that.
Right.
Taking their very masculinity that was given to them by the Most High and turning it into feminine energy. And how you say, how do they do that? Look at your TV shows, man. Every time you turn on TV, all they show is Black and Hispanic men dancing around, acting like women. That's what you see. Just literally taking the masculinity out of the man, right? And not only are they taking the masculinity out of the man, but they're taking the masculinity from the man and giving it to the woman.
Right.
Making her the ruler. She's the one that calls the shots. Y'all ever see those commercials where it's kind of a sidebar, but y'all ever see those commercials? I always see them during halftime too. They always show like during the Super Bowl commercials, they always show the guy, you know, with his buddies, and they watching a football game and they spilling popcorn and chips all over the place. And then the woman comes in and folds her arms, and all the men just kind of cower down and like, okay, you know, we were having fun, but let's stop because the person that's in charge is here now. She waving her finger and, you know, just calling the shots. Right. Little subtle things like that. That's why I said that this was the most subtle beast in the field. Listen, this is not about a dialogue. This is about his way, the way he gets things done, the way he accomplishes his missions. And his mission is to get that woman to go against what the Most High say, to tell the husband, So y'all both could be out of order. And that's happening today. That's happening today. We all in arms about we all in arms about Roe v. Wade, you know, the feminist movement, you know what I'm saying, what women can do, what women can and cannot do with their bodies, right? We all in we're arguing with each other about that. But the person that's responsible for this, nobody is holding him accountable for what we arguing about.
Right.
See, when we in the barbershop saying, you know, we at work and we arguing, I'm arguing with my sister or arguing with my brother about abortion, but the person that put the serpent that put the abortion in place is nowhere to be found. He ain't nowhere to be found.
Right.
He ain't nowhere to be found. Ain't nobody. There's nobody searching for him. Who's responsible for this? Nobody's searching for him, right? But between me and you, we'll argue about it. We'll argue about, you know, abortion. We'll argue about drugs in the community. We'll argue about all these other you know, anecdotal situations. But the truth of the matter is there's an oppressor, and that's somebody that's putting these things into play.
Right.
And a transition of power is happening in the world. The feminist movement, and I'm just kind of sidebarring real quick, we'll get back on that, but the feminist movement in itself is just a way of putting women on top of men.
Right.
And we're going to get into the scripture and find out why they're doing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. But what I got you hold it. Go ahead.
It's you got me holding John 8:44.
Okay.
But Salaki, if I could, what you bringing out is heavy because you know, when the whole verdict came down, I was talking with my rib and I was talking to, you know, some other ladies in the family, and you know, the main argument that they came up with over and over and over again was rape as a reason, when that is only 1% of the abortion statistics. And then they found different ways on how to say, well, you know, they're not reporting it, and you know, the number could be like 50%, but people, I was like, literally, I was like, you think that, you know, it's that many that are happening? Sure, I'll give you some, but even if it was 30%, like you're like, it's just crazy how, you know, the serpent just found a way to put that as the number one message to justify the murder of an unborn child.
Exactly. And you're right about that. And more importantly, you know, to add on what you're saying, this conversation that we continue to have, especially in the Black and Hispanic community, about murdering, just think about where we are in the world, where the conversation is about murdering children, unborn.
Right.
We're really having this conversation. Where did that start? You know what I'm saying? Like, we was having children and doing okay, and then all of a sudden, sometime in the, where was it, 50s or the 60s, Margaret Sanger, back in that time, you know what I'm saying, starting off, I think it was closer to the 70s, but you know, they erect this Planned Parenthood, and now, you know, half of our population of Black and Hispanic children are being wiped off the map because what are we doing? The serpent is saying, while the Most High is saying, thou shalt not kill, what is the serpent saying? You can kill, you ain't gonna die.
Right.
We know that the serpent is saying the exact opposite of what the initial law that was given to us. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not murder unjustly. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
What we murdering? Why we murdering these children? And you're right when you bring that up about the statistic, because of the fact that somebody that's being raped, now rape is a heinous crime, right? And the scripture tells us what we should do with somebody who gets who rapes somebody, right? That's a death sentence. That's a death sentence in the scriptures, right? Because you essentially taking someone's life from them. When you rape a woman, you're taking her life from her, because she has to live with that scar in her mind for the rest of her life. She's not going to forget that, right? So you're essentially taking away her life, because we're not meant to be established that way. We're not meant to go through life with those type of, well, we weren't initially meant to go through life with those type of traumas. Because of our disobedience, we suffer that. But rape is a heinous crime, and they should be punished. But like you said, when you look at the statistics don't show that this is like some sort of epidemic that's happening.
Right.
It isn't a widespread of men just out here going crazy, just raping women, and they get raped and it's a baby, and now they got to have these abortions. I think the last time we looked at the numbers, it was what, 600,000 abortions since 2019. Somebody fact check that, but I think it was over 600,000 a year. It was happening. So you mean to tell me somebody is getting raped at this volume, and we ain't got, what's happening? We should be having way more criminal cases about women getting raped and getting pregnant, having to get an abortion. That should be the story if that's what's really happening. But really what's happening is that the serpent is telling Eve, I understand that you ain't supposed to murder, but what's going to happen to you? You ain't going to die. You ain't going to die if you do that. I know what the Most High said. I know the Most High said, thou shalt not kill, and it's a death sentence and this, and that. But guess what? I know a couple women who did it, and guess what? They live in good lives. Right. That's how the serpent come at you with that. You know how many women have, killed their babies because they want to go on a cruise ship, or, they want to go on some type of trip? Man, it's less than 1% that this happens to.
Right.
Right. So this is how the serpent is still talking to her to this day. And it's on us as men, especially priests and prophets, man. That's why we're here to wake those brothers up so they can see, instead of us fighting with each other, we need to see who the fighting really need to be brought to. And right now, we bringing the fight to each other, but we ain't the ones making the laws. We fighting each other, but we're not the ones, right? We're not the ones that's erecting the Planned Parenthood facilities. We keeping them in business, but we're not erecting them. We don't come up with those ideas. We don't do things like that. But the oppressor gave you that because he been in your ear. He been telling you what thus saith the Lord. I hear what he said, but don't listen to him.
Right.
He just don't want you to be a god. He just don't want you to have power. And that's the message that's being portrayed to our women as well. Girl, you don't need no man. He's just trying to tell you what to do. He's just trying to rule you. He's just trying to do that. Guess what? Yeah, he probably is trying to rule you and tell you what to do. What's wrong with that? If this person loves you, what's wrong with that? Right. What's wrong with this man telling you what to do? If thus saith the Lord. Adam told Eve what thus saith the Lord, not of his own accord. Because if the Most High wouldn't have woke up Adam, he'd probably be just like everybody else, licking rocks and having sex with whoever he want to have sex with. But the Most High woke him up and gave him the knowledge, gave him the truth about what to do and what not to do. And he gave it to his wife, telling her what to do and what not to do. Right? That's what he did. But guess what? Go ahead.
Yeah, just to fact check you. It was about 630,000 abortions in the year 2019. But there's another that's what the CDC reported. Mm-hmm. But there's another system that also does it called a Guttmacher.
Okay.
Guttmacher, and their figures say it was closer to 930,000.
Listen, if that number would have said 3, it would have been too many. Right. But here we go. 2 sites that say 600,000 abortions in what year?
2019.
2019. And another fact say is 900,000. Look, it's way too many. But that's the serpent speaking. That's the serpent telling you, I understand what thus saith the Lord, but guess what? He just trying to tell you what to do.
Right.
How is God gonna stop, your hot girl summer? What? We got to be down 9 months and have a baby? Nah, we can just go kill it.
Right.
And keep riding. Right?
Right.
That's how the serpent talking. The serpent is talking, man. He's talking to these people and they listening. They're listening. Right? Let me get that John 8:44.
Come on. The book of John, chapter 8 and verse 44. Ye are of your father, the devil.
Ye are of your father, the devil, the deceiver, that old serpent. When you see these people out here fighting for the right to abort and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm only talking to the blacks, Hispanics, and the Native Americans. I don't care what the other nations do. I don't care what they do. My concern is not them. My concern is my people, right? Because guess what? My people is who I got to live around. You know what I'm saying? My children have to come up in this society. They have to marry somebody, right? So what I want my son growing up in a world where he will get with a woman that has the ability to say, you know what? I know we've been together and, you know, we didn't have sex and this baby's here, but I'm kind of not feeling like being a mother, you know, right now. I got other things I want to do. So I'm going to just go right here, drop off this little $400, kill this baby, and we're going to get back to what we're doing.
Right.
That's the serpent talking, man. That's the serpent talking. And what does it say? Ye are of your father, the devil. Keep going.
Come. And the lust of your father ye will do.
And the lust of your father he will do. Continue.
Come. He was a murderer from the beginning.
He was a what?
He was a murderer from the beginning.
He was a what?
A murderer.
He was a murderer from the beginning. So this ain't no strange thing to priests and prophets when we see these women, you know what I'm saying, and men too, which is ridiculous to me. They out there with the signs and saying, you know, we want the right to do what we want to do. You know what I mean? Like they only doing what their father, they showing you who their father is.
Right.
They showing you who they listening to. That's really what's happening. You can tell who a person is listening to by their actions.
Right.
You could tell who's listening to the Most High and who's listening to Satan. So if you're a person that finds yourself on that other side, fighting for the right for women to be able to abort babies when they just feel like it, you're doing your lust of the father. And our oppressor has a lust to murder. So of course, it's going to be Planned Parenthood buildings erected in Black and Hispanic neighborhoods. You know why? Because he has a lust to murder. From the beginning. That's what the scripture said. He was a murderer from the beginning. He was a killer from the beginning. That murdering, the massacre and the slaughter of 600,000 unborn babies, that's a bloodlust, man.
Right.
Margaret Sanger and all those other people that put this thing in the place, they have a bloodlust, man, to see Blacks and Hispanics die. That's what they want to see. Right? Keep going.
Come. And abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him.
Because there is no abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. Listen, ain't no truth in your oppressor. You can't trust them. You can't trust the snake, man. Listen, the scriptures are so heavy that they telling you in the beginning who the snake is, man.
Right.
We just illuminated the fact who the snake is. It's your oppressor. We just showed that, right?
Right.
How can you trust the snake? Black man, Hispanic man, Native man. How can you trust the snake? We know how snakes get down. You wouldn't trust the snitch. Why trust the snake? And your oppressor that's giving you these laws and giving you the go ahead to go against the Most High, to give you some fake power that you want. Because all this is about is power. It's about power. It's still about trying to be a God, trying to be a power. Right?
Right.
Let's go back to Genesis, get back into the Adam and Eve thing. It's important. Go ahead.
What you're saying is so heavy because brothers won't even trust another brother around their rib. You know, they won't even go down to the store while their homeboys in the house playing 2K, you know, around their rib. But that oppressor knock on the door and he'll be like, "Oh, this is just a routine search. I just want to, you know, we just want to make sure everything is okay." He gonna let him right inside the house.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Talk your guard all the way down, man. That's why I talk about our oppressors, and they talk about him being the most subtle beast in the field, right? That the Most High had made. And then also in the scriptures, they talk about how, you know, his words are smoother than butter or smoother than oil, but in his heart, I'm paraphrasing, in his heart was full of war. Come on, man. This is a war we living out here. Do you think that the oppressor, right? Do you think the so-called white man is out here erecting abortion clinics because he cares about your future? You think he's doing this because he really care about your quality of life? Is that the only way to establish, you know what I mean? Is that the only way to establish any type of groundwork for building wealth for the Black community? We start with killing our babies, and then we can start building on this. Is that what we gonna trust him with that? Come on, man, get out of here. He a murderer from the beginning. We just read that. You can't trust the snake, man, in nothing. And so many of our people, blacks and Hispanics, natives, we trust him. We trust him with our life. We trust them with everything because they provide you with some food or provide you with some water. That ain't even them doing that, but we feel like it's them. You know what I mean? So we trust them with everything, man. And they out here killing us, man. They out here killing our babies before they even breathe a breath of air. They already got some established for you before you even get here. Right. What's that saying? It said that the most dangerous place in the world for a black man is inside of a mother's womb. You know why? Because who's she listening to? We go out on the corners and we have these classes so you can hear what the Most High say. What thus saith the Lord, not thus saith the serpent, because that's who they listening to. The Christian church, anybody outside of the ISUPK is listening to a serpent, man. I'm going to just go out on record and say that. You listening to a serpent. Real talk. All right. All right, let's go back to Genesis. Let's get through the story. Where was we at? We was at let's go to 7. Let's start at 7. 3 and 7. I think we was right there.
Okay. You could not want to read it, or I could read it.
Go ahead.
Come. The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 7. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked.
Mm-hmm.
And they sewed fig leaves, together, and made themselves aprons.
Mm-hmm. And the eyes of them were both open, and they knew that they were naked. Right? Why did they know that they were naked? What is this? What is this talking about? Now, this is the tricky part. You got to be able to break this down because of the fact that, Christians will try to eat you with this one. They'll try to get you. Look, the eyes was open and they knew that they was naked. I mean, there's a practical way to break this down. You can cut a Christian with just practical stuff, to be honest with you. You ain't really even got to go deep into it, but you can cut a Christian, and I'll show you how to do that with something practical. But what is this talking about, Genesis 3 and 7? Anybody? Nobody want to take a shot at it? Go ahead.
Is it when we say their eyes were open and they was naked?
Mm-hmm.
Does it mean that damn, I remember Triple Resign said they was ashamed. Like they was ashamed that they had they disobeyed the Most High. Like they was ashamed that they recognized that they had sinned against the Most High.
Right. Correct. So they were exposed at this point. They had sinned against the Most High, and they saw that they were naked. But naked just means that they were ashamed. Right. This is the way the Christian church will look at this, and they look at it for the face value, because that's what the oppressor taught them. The oppressor taught them to look at this and read it for face value and think, oh, their eyes were open, and now they knew that they were naked, as if like what's this, Trooper Lock? What do you say? They realized they messed up. Facts. That's correct. They realized they messed up. They already got the law. Remember, when Eve spoke with the serpent the first time, she said, yeah, we can eat of the trees of the garden, but this one that's in the midst, we can't mess with that one. But what did he do? He convinced her. And she took it, and she gave it to her husband, and now they both messed up, right? Now they both ashamed. Now they both naked, but not in a physical sense, but in the way that, oh, man, we exposed. Look, we got to cover. Look what we done did. He told us not to eat this. He told us what not to eat and where not to go and who to talk to and what not to touch. And guess what we did? We did everything he told us not to do. Guess what? We exposed now. I'm ashamed. I can't believe I did that. We can relate to that. Y'all know, I'm pretty sure y'all experienced that. You ever did something, you'd be like, man, why did I do that?
Right.
What was I thinking? You understand what I'm saying? That's exactly what that is. They like, what? Why do we do that? Right? Okay. Now the second part. Keep going with that. Read that.
Oh, come on. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's them fig leaves and in the aprons? What's that? Break that down for me.
So like,
mm-hmm.
That's the that's the other culture, other nations' culture that they put on like they started carrying on, like they started like um doing what the other nations was doing, like adapting their culture.
Con. They begin, and basically what it's again, this is allegory. Basically, they put on the philosophies, the thought process, the practices of the other nations. That's what happened with Adam and Eve. They put on those other because they had messed up. So now they're gonna cover themselves and just try to hide themselves, right? And we'll get to that part, but just try to hide themselves amongst the other nations by covering themselves with the philosophy, the way they dress, and things like that. And you'll find that here today. It's the same thing happening today. When you go and you look at and you go into other cultures and you look at blacks and Hispanics, man, we all dressed up as somebody else.
Right.
You a whole Israelite dressed up like an African American. You an Israelite, chosen people of God, but you dressed up as a Puerto Rican. You dressed up as a Dominican or a native, right? And we doing all the practices that those that our oppressors gave us. We doing all the things that they gave us. Listen, as an Israelite, we don't get shape ups and lineups. We grow our beards out, we grow our hair and stuff like that. But as African American, you got to have that shape up, bro. You got to go get that lineup. It ain't right if it ain't lined up right. You understand what I'm saying? You hiding in, we got to put on a suit. We got to put on that, you know what I'm saying, that shucking and jiving suit. You know what I'm saying? We got to go when we get around our oppressor, we got to change our voice and talk a certain type of way and change who we are, right? Put on the fig trees and we cover ourselves with their philosophies and their thought patterns, right? That's why you run into some women, you run into some dudes and they so into zodiac and you be like, what? Zodiacs? So you mean to tell me that you make your decisions based off the moon and the stars? That's what you do? Forget what's in front of you. You're going to look at me and say, I'm an Aquarius and say, oh, I know how you is. You like this, you like this, you like that. And that's how you basing your decision based on, the stars? Come on, man. We putting on all these other religions, You an Israelite, but you in real life, you're an Israelite, but you walking around here masquerading as a Muslim.
Right.
You ain't Arab. You is not Arab, but you walk around here with your carpet and, praying 5 times a day, wasting your time, going in the dark room and put your carpet down and, get on your knees and alhamdulillah, whatever the, hell they be saying.
Washing your hands.
That's what you do. Washing your hands every 5 minutes. I don't know what Islam does, but what I do know is wrong. Right. For Israelites to be doing that. That's what I do know. And it's disgusting to see our people caught up and covered in them other philosophies. And that's really what we're seeing here. The philosophies and the things that we're arguing about in our community are not even, it's not even our argument. It's not even our fight. It's not even for us. This is our oppressor's mindset. And he's giving it to us because that's who we listening to, right? Where we at? Can you give me a Job 29:14 so that we can understand this is again allegory, because they put on the fig trees and we said that that's the philosophies, right? So we're just gonna prove that. We're gonna look at this precept, Job 29:14. Whoever got it, you can read it.
Kind of, sir. You said Job 29:14.
Job 29:14.
Kind of, got it. The book of Job, chapter 29, verse 14. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. My judgment was as a robe and a diadem.
Right? So it says, I put on righteousness and it clothed me, right? So again, this is allegory. This is how we talk. So obviously you don't have a robe that's righteousness. You don't have that. But when you do righteous things, he's saying that when he put on that righteousness, when I took on that righteous mindset, when you do righteous things, it clothed him. And it says his judgment was a robe and a diadem. So that's how we talk. That's how we relate. So no, there is nothing in my closet. There's no robe of righteousness in my closet, right? But when I take on righteousness, when I don't eat pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, right? When I don't, so like, when I don't steal from my brother, when I don't kill my brother, I'm putting on righteousness, man. That's how you put on righteousness in this world today. That's the only way to do it, right? Let's go back to Genesis. Finish with the story.
Kind of, sir. You wanted to start at what, verse 8
Yeah.
or verse 9?
Start at 8. Let's just go to 8.
Kind of, okay. Genesis chapter 3, verse 8. And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day.
All right. So it says, and they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. Right. Now, reading that, you know, Christians, again, I remember being in a Christian church and we read this and you're like, oh man, God was walking in the garden. That's not what happened. If you read it, it says, and they heard the voice of the Lord God. This is why they was walking in the garden, right? Keep going.
Kind of, okay. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden.
So they hid themselves amongst the trees in the garden. So they hid themselves amongst all the other nations. And how do you do that? By putting on their philosophies, by taking on their practices, right? That's how you hide yourself or try to hide yourself from the Most High. But we all know that you can't hide yourself from the Most High, but they tried it. Keep going.
Come. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself.
Break that down for me.
Salaki, sir. I remember watching a video. I don't know who it was, but they said that one of the I think it was one of the generals, if I'm not mistaken. But they said that the voice that they heard was like the messages of the Most High, and you know, like how like you see your brother like eating pork, and you know he ain't supposed to be eating pork. You know, hey Tyrone, what you doing over there buying that pork chop sandwich? You know you ain't supposed to be eating that. And the nigga gonna try to hide it. They're gonna be they see somebody catch them committing a sin that they know is a sin. They're gonna be ashamed. They're gonna be naked. They're gonna try to hide themselves. I'm not. It was a while ago that I heard about the breakdown. I can't remember it verbatim, but I think they were saying that like that's what they heard was the voice of the Lord was, you know, one of the Lord's people, you know, calling them out, and you know, caught them like you said, covering themselves with the other nations, like doing the things that the other nations was doing, and they was caught. They was found out, and they tried to hide themselves.
Right. So where we at? 3 and 10. I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked. Break that down. And I hid myself. What's the naked part? Why they say that?
They was ashamed.
Why?
Because they broke the laws of the Most High.
Exactly. And again, here's some practical application. Think about this with your children, right? You got children. If you give them rules, let's say you leave the house and you say, don't do this, don't do that, right? When you come back and you found out and you see what they've done, what's the first thing you do? Chris, where y'all little asses at? I thought I told y'all not to do this. And what they gonna do? Anybody that got kids, what your kids do when they did something wrong? What they do?
Shit,
Anyway.
like most of them, they trying to lie.
Right. But what they do is they hide themselves.
Right.
They hide themselves. They're not there. They when you walk in, when you give your children instruction, most time when they doing something, if you don't catch them red-handed, they not standing there at the crime scene. When you doing something wrong, you don't stand there at the crime scene. Come on now. If that was the case, everybody that murdered somebody or stole something, we had caught them every time. But we don't. You know why? Because they did something wrong. So what they do? I'm gonna hide myself. I'm gonna try to hide myself. I'm gonna try to blend in with the rest of everybody else. Right? So because they were afraid, because they knew, hey, wait a minute, look, we exposed now. We didn't broke the law. We know what we're not supposed to do. But guess what? The Most High calling now at this point, and he said, I hid myself because I was naked. I was ashamed, and I hid myself. I was ashamed of what I had done. Both of them were ashamed of what they had done. Right? Keep going.
Okay. And he said, verse 11,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, who told thee that thou was naked?
Mm-hmm.
Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat?
So he asked him, he said, who told you was naked? Who told you was ashamed? He asking him, why would you be ashamed? Who told you that? Did you eat of that tree? Did you listen to them people I told you not to listen to? Did you do what I told you not to do? That's the only way you're going to be ashamed. Why would you be hiding yourself from me after I didn't gave you the laws or what to do or what not to do? What's going on? Keep going. Now he's questioning him. He asking like, what's going on? Who told you that? Right? Keep going.
Sir.
Mm-hmm.
And the man said, the woman whom thou givest to me, givest to be with me, she gave me the tree. She gave me of the tree, Salakia,
Mm-hmm.
and I did eat.
So immediately, as soon as the Most High get there and say, listen, who told you was naked? First of all, who told you was ashamed? And did you eat of that tree? And what did Adam say? The woman.
Sir, he
Go
did
ahead.
he did what niggas do. He deferred him. He deferred the pressure off of him. Like, hold on.
Yeah,
Most
he
High,
did.
You gave me
that
this
woman
one.
you gave me.
Exactly.
It was that damn woman.
But listen though. Here's the thing about that. The Most High know. That's why he asked Adam first. This ain't a question of him not knowing what's going on. He asked Adam first. You know why? Because Adam was put in charge. Adam was given the law. He taught it to his wife. So I'm gonna go to the head. See, the Most High work in decency and order. He don't work out of order. He didn't go to the woman first. He went to the man. Where are you at? Because I told you what to do.
Right.
You in charge here. Right? What's going on? And what's the first thing Adam said? Being weak, he said, yeah. That woman that you said that was supposed to be that you gave me,
right?
Just like a nigga. That woman you gave me, you the one that gave it to me. She gave me of the tree, and I ate. Keep going.
Hey, Salaki, sir, that's kind of heavy too.
Right.
Like the way you just broke that down, like he almost tried to blame the Most High. Like if it wasn't like I want to say like he tried to blame him, but if the way you said it like that, it's like he kind of saying like, well, if it weren't for that woman you gave me, I might have had not eaten it. You know what I'm saying? But you gave me that woman, so he just trying to take the blame. Like you said, he had a weak moment, and he trying to take the blame off him being weak at that time on the woman. Like how you said, like the Most High came to him because he's supposed to be in charge. Like nigga, you supposed to be you know what I'm saying? You supposed to be, like
right.
You the man. Don't tell me no woman made you weak.
Right. Yeah. So Adam, he like, listen, the woman you gave me, that's what's going on here. The woman you gave me, she's the one that gave me of the tree, and I did eat.
Right.
Right. The woman you gave me. Emphasis on that. Keep going.
Right. Verse 13. And the Lord said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done?
So the Most High was like, what have you done? What did you do? What did you do? Keep going.
And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat.
So now the Most High goes to Adam and says, what what did you do? What happened? And Adam says, hey, look, that broad you gave me, she gave me the fruit. She gave me of the tree, and I ate it. Now what? Right?
Right.
So the Most High goes to the woman and says, what did you do? And she says, the serpent beguiled me. What does that mean? What does that mean to be beguiled?
Slacky, sir.
Mm-hmm.
To like be tricked.
Right. 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 What's the literal what does the literal definition say? Let's look up the literal definition.
Slacky, sir. I got it.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
It says beguiled in the Oxford Dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
Past tense. Charm or enchant someone, sometimes in a deceptive way.
Right. Right. So the woman was tricked. She got tricked. Right? She got tricked into taking of the tree. And when she got tricked, what did she do? Take it back to her husband.
Right.
And now that whole household is thrown down. That whole household, the rules, what the Most High set up, was subverted because she was tricked. You ever heard of the term naive?
Right.
Nigh being, I think it's like an old English word meaning near.
Right.
And Eve being talking about Eve, naive, near to Eve. You know why? Because you're easily deceived, easily tricked into going against the Most High. And that's still happening today. And that's why part of this is why what we're talking about is why your woman will leave you. Because without correct leadership from a priest or a prophet, your woman can be tricked. And guess what happens? She'll trick you. She'll trick you. And guess what? Your whole household will be subverted. Your whole household will be subverted.
Right.
Adam in this moment was weak listening to his woman. And we're going to get into, let's just get to it. Go down to, where we at?
Verse
13.
Come on.
All right, keep going. Just keep reading. We'll go through it.
Come on. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 14. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life.
Right. So the Most High started with the serpent. Like, listen, because you've done this, you're going to be cursed above all the cattle, right? And above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat the day. And dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life, right? So again, the Christian church read that, taking it as face value. It had to be a snake. Let me tell you what the Christian church think this is. The Christian church say that snakes had legs one point in time. Now, I don't know what church you went to, but I know when I was in church, this was the philosophy that was given to me on how to read this. Because, before you get polluted with Christianity, even though, even though you may not be going to a Christian church, you probably raised by a Christian, which means a lot of your ways are going to be Christian. But even in your right practical mind, you're like, wait, this don't make sense. Okay, so it's a serpent. How is this possible? Why is he cursing them to be on his belly now when it was a serpent? He was already on his belly. So what's going on here? So the Christian church, again, not understanding, snakes had legs. And so, they used to walk upright. All this nonsense stays to say, man, everything to get around what the truth of the matter is. We gonna make it a snake. We don't want to say that this is a person so bad that we made imaginary legs on snakes. Now, I'm not no National Geographic expert. I don't claim to know every species of snake or know every species of animal that crawls around on the ground. But what I do know is I ain't never seen a snake. I ain't never seen no snake, especially the ones they paint with no legs. Seen no bones of no old snakes that had legs. I ain't seen that.
Right.
But I do know a snake that got legs. We all know a snake that got legs.
Right.
We all know snakes that got legs. You know rats that got tails. We all know this. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't never seen that. So we got to look deeper and see who is he talking about. And we know now that this is a man. This is a man that was a snake in what he did, right? That's why he called a snake, because of what he did, because how he lied, because how he slithered around, how he got around Eve and he seduced her. You know what I'm saying? You ever see those snake charmers?
Right.
Where they had like the flute, right, and they play the song and the snake come out the thing and, you know, dancing and all that other type of nonsense. You know what I mean? Snake charmers. I don't know. Maybe y'all don't watch TV enough or nothing. But I be seeing that. I see that a lot, right? And it always make me think of this story. Every time I see a snake charmer, I always think about the story in Genesis about how the Christian church mind is probably thinking this actually took place, right? Keep going.
Con. Verse 15. And I will put enmity. So like it. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed.
Right.
It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel.
Right. And again, we seeing this played out in the earth right here. This is what 3:15 is talking about, what's happening today. You know what I'm saying? Their leaders oppressing us. We being oppressed, right? Bruising the head, bruising the heel. That's the top, you know what I'm saying? Top of them, the bottom of us being oppressed, man. They oppressing us. Them police that's in the street shooting them brothers, man. That's that enmity he was talking about between her seed and thy seed. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what it's talking about. Keep going.
Con. Verse 16.
This is the meat right here. This is the meat right here.
Con. Unto the woman he said.
Now, this is what the Most High is going to say to the woman. And this is important. And again, before we go into that part, let me just say this. One thing that I have noticed, and a lot of times, especially speaking and, you know, telling people about the scriptures and breaking this down, you know, a lot of people, especially Christians, you know, when you make a stance on something, they as far as the women are concerned, they take up for everybody. They take up for the whores. They take up for the bad mothers, the deadbeat mothers. Listen, if I stand here and I say that I don't like bitches, even a woman that don't think that may not say that she's a bitch will get offended because I said that.
Right.
She will get offended and put her chest out and stand up for the bitch next to her.
Right.
She will do that.
Girl code.
Right? It's exactly. It's like a code that they have with each other. You know what I mean? Like, listen, so if you're a righteous woman, this don't apply to you. But for everybody else, yes, it does. Right? Keep going.
Okay. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow shalt thou bring forth children.
And in sorrow shalt thou bring forth children. Listen, I understand we had the conversation about Roe v. Wade, but this is a question that I pose. Do we really think that the Roe v. Wade and the argument that these women are having is really about the children? Do you think it's really about the murder of children? You think that's the angle that they coming from? Nah, it's deeper than that. And it stems from this right here, this 3:16, right? Because he talked to the serpent and he told the serpent what his punishment is. And now it's time for the woman to get her punishment. What's the first thing you say? I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow shalt thou bring forth children. Right? What other way to subvert this curse of having a hard childbearing, and all that stuff, you know, all the crazy stuff that women go through during childbirth? You know how easy, like when you see, I hate to make the reference, but you know, when you see animals and they have babies, they don't be struggling and crying and pulling their hair out and doing all that kind of stuff. They just slide right out. They just go about their business, keep walking. You know what I'm saying? Woman, she go in the labor. It's like 36 hours. You know, my mother told me she was in labor with me for 2 weeks. She didn't even know. I'm ready to come, and she just sitting there like, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready to be born, and she like, my stomach hurting. It's like, let me out of here. Right.
Good night.
So what better way than to subvert that, but to erect abortion centers? Right. Listen, if we kill the babies, we ain't gotta suffer no hard childbirth. Right. Ain't no conception and bringing forth no children in sorrow. Ain't none of that happening, because guess what? Hot girl summer is around the corner. Mm-hmm. And guess what? How we can subvert all that? Just kill the baby. Just kill it. It ain't breathing no way. It ain't alive. Even though at about what, a week or two, it's a heartbeat somewhere. Right. Let's just kill it. That way we don't even have to deal with this whole, you know, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. We ain't got to deal with that. Guess what we gonna do? We just gonna kill the baby. Again, that's that serpent talking to your woman. Right. That's that serpent talking to your woman, telling her that, hey, you ain't got to go through this. That nigga ain't no good. He don't do what he's supposed to do anyway. Let's just kill the baby. I don't want no baby by this man. That's what they saying to themselves. Mm-hmm. I want to have sex with him, but I don't want his baby. Mm-hmm. That's the mindset. That's the mindset of a lot of women today. Right? Keep going.
And thy desire shall be to thy husband.
What? The desire shall be to who?
Thy husband.
Thy husband. And let me make this clear real quick. Again, that's another class, but in the scriptures, when you see husband, that's just man. That's to your man, right? Whoever you laid down and you had sex with, that's your man. That's what this is talking about. And your desire would be to your husband, right? Keep going.
And he shall rule over thee.
He shall what?
He shall rule over thee.
Nah. He shall what?
He shall rule over thee.
He gonna rule over me? Hell no. Hell no. That's what the woman said. Nah. Ain't that the going thing right now? You don't need no man. I don't need no man telling me what to do. Right. Rebellious. Going against what thus saith the Lord. Right? And he shall rule over thee. So what better way again to subvert this, but then to kill the baby? Take all of the power that the man has in his home and give it to the woman. And guess what? He ain't ruling over nobody no more. Right. They know what the Most High said. The Most High said you was going to have hard time in childbirth because you listened to the serpent and you gave it to your husband. You're going to have a hard time in childbirth. Right. You're going to bring them forth in sorrow. Your affection, your desire going to be to your husband, and he shall rule over thee. And today, a lot of our women don't want that. Right. They don't want a righteous man ruling over them. They don't want any man ruling over them for this reason right here. Trying to subvert and get around the punishment that was given to you. Everybody else got to have a punishment. The serpent took his. Adam about to get his. And you got to take yours, woman. You got to take your punishment too. If we all got to do it, then you got to do it too. Damn right. And the serpent is still to this day talking to her saying you ain't got to do it. But guess what? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I know the serpent said that you wouldn't die, but guess what? You are dying. Right. The more babies you kill, the less likely all these babies that you killing, how you going to come back into this world? Oh, that's right. You're a Christian. You don't believe in reincarnation. You think you're going to be up in the sky somewhere floating around. So you don't care about it because you're selfish. Right. You want to do the act that creates a baby, but you don't want the responsibility of the act, which is the child. Right? What's the point? Your woman will leave you listening to the serpent. She will leave you. You know why? Because the serpent is giving her options. The serpent is helping her subvert your rule. Right. That the Most High gave to you. This isn't something we just amongst ourselves said that we were going to do. We just want to rule over women. No, this is what we have to do.
Right.
This is something that we have to do, right? Let me get 836. Let me get a couple more, and then we go. Let me get Ecclesiasticus 23 and 19. Actually, scratch that. Let me get Ephesians 5 and 22.
Okay.
You can see it all in the news, man. You can see it in the news. You can see it in the media. You can see it all over the world, man. That serpent is trying to subvert what the Most High said was supposed to happen. So he's giving rule to your woman. He's giving rule to your woman. And that's why men are getting kicked out of the house. You know, at one point in time, the government wasn't even helping your woman unless she was by herself. So if you were struggling, a lot of men left their homes to get aid from the government.
Right.
They wouldn't even help you out. You black in this world, knowing everything is against you. This is the serpent. This is how subtle he is. You black in this world, a black family struggling. These social workers, they understand that you out here and the world is against you. But guess what? They still play. The same person that come to give you help is the same people that's stabbing you in the back.
Right.
The same people that's making you sick is the same people that's telling you this is what you got to do to be healed.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. And as a unit, they have separated us and gave that power to women now. So that's why now you see the movies. I don't know if y'all watch movies, but that movie Thor, now they got a woman. Then they got a woman Thor. I ain't seen the movie, but I can tell by the previews. Now they got a woman Thor. Everything is, we got to put a woman next to it. So equal power. No, we don't have equal power. There's a reason why the Most High put me in charge and you're not in charge.
Right.
Because of the decision making, because of what you did. Look at what you can do. Look at all the damage you can do. There's a scripture. We ain't got to get it right now, but it's a scripture that talk about when they asked what was the strongest thing in the world, and they said it was a woman outside of the truth. Second to that was a woman. A woman is powerful, man. And you brothers out there that's falling victim to these women, that woman is powerful. And you have to establish rule. And the only way you're going to do that is if you come into the Isupk under commanding General Yohana since 1969, has been building up men and that has been forming and putting together the correct household and doing it the way it's supposed to be done from the beginning.
Right.
Listening to the serpent, listening to the white man on how to cultivate and how to instruct your family is going to get you killed, man.
Right.
And that's why it's happening here. Listen, I give you another example. The Most High, you ain't supposed to be getting divorced. But what does the serpent say you can do? You can get divorced. You ain't got to deal with him no more. Come on, man. I know you slept with him. I know y'all done got mortgages. I know y'all done been with each other all this time. And guess what? The woman is unhappy. So she has the right to divorce you. She can leave and take half of your stuff if you enter into that agreement. Right? What I got you holding?
Ephesians 5 and 22. And,
all right, go ahead and read that for me.
Okay, do you also want the first Ezra's?
Nah, just go to the Ephesians.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands.
Unto who?
Unto your own husbands.
Unto your own husbands. Listen, part of the problem of what Eve did is that she submitted herself unto another man.
Right.
Submitting herself unto another man. And we see that today. Listen, your woman will go to work and listen to her boss. Her boss will make her jump through hoops. Will make her do all type of stuff throughout the course of the day. For 8 hours.
Right.
You got a rib that work. She there. The boss tell her, the oppressor tell her when she can go to lunch. He tell her when she can take a break. He tells her what she needs to wear. All of these things she allows. But when you get home, guess what? These women nowadays, you can't tell me what to do. You ain't my daddy.
Right.
You ain't my daddy. You can't tell me what to do.
Right.
You know why? Because the serpent is giving her options. The scriptures say, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. So when you go on that slavery and the oppressor is telling you what to do what the oppressor is telling you to do at your job, I guess, but then come home and not do what your husband say. This is the man that rules over you. This is the man that was put in charge over you by the Most High God. So who are we listening to? Who are our women actually listening to? Are they listening to priests and prophets? That's why we here. But as a man in your own home, you're not being listened to. They're listening to the serpent.
Right.
He's giving them options. He's telling them the opposite of what thus saith the Lord. Nah, you ain't gonna die. You ain't. I know what God said. I know God said that, you're supposed to be with one man for the rest of your life. But look how Megan Thee Stallion is living. Look how Rihanna is living. Those women in power, they see them and they think that they can live that way, right? Because those people who are named listen to the serpent as well. And guess what? The serpent blessed them.
Right.
The serpent give them riches and power and stuff like that, and they become as gods on the earth. You think Megan Thee Stallion ain't looked at as a god? You think Beyonce ain't looked at as a god? Come on, man. Nicki Minaj just did a tour, and I think she over in UK, and they showed her the people, the turnout. Man, it was like 500,000 people just in the street willing to see her. That's a god, man. That's power. She has power. Her money and her prestige gives her power. And guess how she got it? Not doing what thus saith the Lord. She on stage getting naked. She on stage showing everything, and that's how she get it. So other women see that and say, wait a minute, I don't need no man. He trying to keep me down. He don't want me wearing these certain type of clothes because he don't want me to be who I am. This is what the serpent is saying to your woman. Right. And this is why she'll leave you. Because while you trying to be righteous and while you trying to do what thus saith the Lord and take down the Christmas trees and don't celebrate no holidays and cancel them birthdays, while you trying to do that, your woman is looking at Beyonce. Your woman is looking at how Jay-Z is treating her. Your woman is looking at Rihanna and Meg Thee Stallion. She looking at them and saying, they get on the internet, take off their clothes, shake their behind, and everybody love them. And I'm sitting here with this bozo telling me to cover myself up, cover up my breasts, have some shame about myself, put on this long dress, cover my body, and don't show nobody your body but me. That's what my man is telling me. When they sitting up here getting millions and millions for showing their body to everybody, come on, man. You said I was going to die. You said I was going to die if I did that. Nah, we living. We out here living. Right. And that's the message that's being placed and portrayed and given to your woman. That's who's training up your woman. If you're not a priest and prophet, man, you need to get in here, man, because ain't no way you're gonna be able to handle. You ain't gonna be able to handle that type of power. The women with the power that they have is like giving a child a Smith and Wesson. Right. They don't know what power they got behind that. They don't understand that. There was no man in their home when they were younger bending their neck. Guess why? Because their mother kicked the father out. So we always talk about how the father not being in the home affects the man, but we don't talk about, we do, but in the world, they don't talk about how it affects the woman. Right. It affects the woman a lot.
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
And we see the example of that in what happened in New York, where those look like sisters went crazy over $1.25 for sauce.
Oh man, thank you for bringing that up, man. I'm gonna say that as Salaki. Listen, it's a video on here. Next week or whenever, that video got to be played. These women went into, I don't know what restaurant it was in New York, and because this is what the caption said, right? The caption said that they were upset because they were charged $1.25 for some sauce. And when I tell you, if you find this video, look at it. When I tell you those women destroyed that restaurant, Salaki. When I tell you that those women destroyed that restaurant, I'm talking about they threw stuff at the people they filming. They tore the restaurant up. Now, guess what? Do I think anything is going to happen to them women? Probably not. Probably not. Because in this society today, when women act up like that, everybody just back up. We just take our hands off of it. Well, she a woman, she gonna act up. She gonna go crazy. don't do nothing to her. You know, she having her moment.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? In that video, when they tearing up that restaurant, if you had a man come up and say, "Hey, y'all stop doing this and doing this," guess what? The other men that was standing around, and if you pay attention in that video, if you see the video, they tearing up the restaurant, is men standing behind them, filming, laughing.
Okay.
I mean, they laughing.
Right.
And I guarantee if any man would step up and try to stop those women, guess what? All those men will jump on them. All those men will beat him down to the ground. You know why? Because you can't tell these women nothing because who they listening to.
Right.
Those men in those videos listening to the same serpent that woman is listening to.
Right. I got the
telling
video.
you to go against the Most High.
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
I got the video if you want.
You able to play it? No, I ain't. I'm a. If you, you could pull it up.
Kind of concept.
Let's pull it up real quick, just real quick. We got about 10 minutes.
You can see it.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me add this here. Give me a sec. See if I could do this. All right, here we go. Yeah, play that. Look at this, man. Look at this.
Plus food fight, the customer chaos inside a Lower East Side restaurant. You won't believe what workers say.
Yeah, look at them. Look at them right there.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us at 6. I'm Natalie.
Oh man, see that's go to it so we show. Look at this. Look at this. Now look, see that sea of phones in the back. Those are all men. Look at that. Look how they looking.
Right.
Applauding this behavior. This is ridiculous, man. Who talking to them? Who telling them that that's okay? Who raised them? Who raised them? Look at what they in the streets doing. And this is all over some sauce, man. Now, you think if you got a woman like that, you're going to be able to tell her what to do? You think you're going to be able to tell her to stop? Listen, if she doing that in public, what you think she doing at home?
Good night.
If she in public showing her natural behind over some stuff, you can take it down now, Warrior.
Okay.
If she's there, if she's there in the public place doing that, what you think she doing at home? You think somebody got some rulership over her at home? You think Genesis 3:16 mean anything to her? Oh, my affection is gonna be my desire will be to my husband, and he shall rule over thee. Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Right. So what's the point, right? What's the point here? What's the point? That story in Genesis that we went over, that we read, not the creation part, but the story that we read in Genesis about that dialogue between Satan, between the serpent and that woman, changed the whole complex of how this world is ran now.
Right.
And it's important that as priests and prophets, and as a man, if you a man and you not in this school, man, you got to get in here, man. You got to get in here. And the reason you got to get in here is because, listen, the time is now. The time is now. Time is so short right now. How are you ever gonna survive if you can't even rule in your household? You got to come into these ranks, man, and learn how to rule your household. I had to learn that. I had to learn how to rule my household, because if you don't, you'll get ran out of that household by the serpent, and he'll use your woman. He'll use your woman to do it, get you up out of there. He will use her and remove you from that home, legally remove you from that home. In this kingdom, a man don't have very little power in his household. He does. And especially, I'm going to say it again, dealing with a wicked woman, that's what you're going to get. Now, you come into the Isupk, you get you one of these sisters, these righteous sisters who going to be down for you and not going to be somewhere tearing up a restaurant because they got charged $1.25. You know how much damage they caused in that restaurant for $1.25?
Right.
Come on, man. This is just a microcosm of what's happening in the world. This is happening in homes all across the world. Not getting their way and becoming violent. So as a man, you got to get up in these ranks and you got to learn how to control your woman and control what she's listening to. Not because, listen, I'll say it like this. Women want authority. They want power. You can have power. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You can have power. You can have power over them dishes.
Right.
You can have power over how we, decorate the home.
Right.
But when it comes to serving God, you don't have no say-so there.
Right.
And a lot of these men are allowing these women to pick their God. And what I mean, pick their God, meaning, you come into the truth, you want to stop celebrating birthdays and celebrating Christmas and stuff like that, man, your woman will leave you. What? You don't celebrate Christmas? You don't celebrate birthdays? Wait a minute. The oppressor said that we can do that.
Right. Right.
The oppressor said we can do that. What are you saying? Right. $20,000 over $1.25. $20,000 over $1.25, man. Come on. It's unruly. That's ridiculous.
Slucky.
Go ahead.
And all of them going to jail. Because you best
Hey.
believe they got camera footage, and all the police is doing is going over that camera footage and putting faces with names with addresses. They want to go viral and show their ass and slucky and twerk and you know what I'm saying? I understand the upcharge, yeah, but like you say, unruly women do stuff like that. And
Right.
that $1.25 finna cost you a lot of time and a lot of money.
Right.
So,
exactly. Go ahead.
So like what a lot of people don't really realize is folks once they put you on video, with all the software that they got out now, especially in a place like New York, they got thousands and thousands of systems. I done seen some of the systems that they use to set up those cameras and do facial recognition. They're gonna find you instantly. Once you, a lot of those people, they doing stuff like that for the gram. They watching everybody film them. All those dudes that was standing behind, filming them with the lights and all that stuff. They doing that stuff for their little 15 minutes of fame. They're not
Right.
even thinking. They're not even thinking what's coming down, because they're gonna have to pay all that money back.
Exactly. But you know why they even have the courage to do that? Because ain't nobody checking them.
Right.
Everybody's afraid to check women. You're afraid to check them. We're afraid to do it in our households. I was married in the world like 12 years or something like that, and would be afraid to leave my home. Man, if it wasn't for the Isupk under Commander General Yohana, man, I wouldn't be here right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd be somewhere
right.
getting ran over. I'll be somewhere with some woman. I'll be one of them dudes right there with my camera filming,
Right.
laughing. You know why? Because ain't nobody here don't nobody want to check the black woman. Don't nobody want to check the Hispanic woman. Don't nobody want to check the Native American woman. Nobody want to check them. Nobody want to tell them what thus saith the Lord. And the only way you're going to learn to do that is to come up in these ranks and learn how to do that. Listen, that is a lifelong lesson that you got to learn. And taking on a woman, you got to learn how to do that. Because if you don't, that power that she has, unknowingly, she'll use it against you. How many men get the police called on them, when he want to leave the house, when he want to go out somewhere? How many men got to tiptoe in their home? Grown men got to tiptoe in the home, got to come in when the woman say, you got to come in the house.
Pay all the bills.
Right? Oh, we got about 5 minutes. It's another scripture I wanted to get. Let me get unless y'all got any questions. Salaki, if I ain't asked that, I know I said I ain't see nobody type none in the chat, but we got like 5 minutes left. If y'all got any questions or y'all got anything y'all want to bring out real quick. Oh, I got it. Give me 1 Timothy 2:14. Let me hit this real quick. It'll probably be the last one if y'all ain't got nothing else.
Slucky, sir.
Go ahead.
Paraphrase it and say, I find more bitter than death is the woman. Like sometimes in the situation, man, I'm dealing with an evil woman. Death don't seem that bad.
I think that's Ecclesiastes 7:26. I believe we'll get that one next. I think that's but you're right, man. I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and I mean, paraphrasing, whose heart is snares and traps. we're gonna read it though, but let me get 1 Timothy 2:14. That's what I call it. 2:14. Yeah.
Come.
Start at 13 for me. As a matter of fact, Start at 11.
Come. The book of 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 11.
Salaki. Start at 9. Salaki.
Come. The book of 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 9. And in like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
Adorn themselves in modest apparel. Those women in that video that was tearing up that restaurant, they ain't have on no modest apparel, man. They legs out, you know what I mean? Breast all out. You go on Instagram right now, man. That might as well be OnlyFans. You can't even go on Instagram and look at no sports or nothing like that, because every time you swipe up, it's some woman bent over.
Right.
It's some woman taking the picture. I hate when they take the pictures where it's like, look at my hair. They saying, how y'all like my hair? But then her breast is all on the table.
Right.
It's like, you know damn well we ain't here. You ain't got us here looking at your hair. You want us to look at your breasts, exposing them. And these is women with men in the home. So think how defeated and think how low this man got to be with this woman who posting her behind on Instagram all day for likes, for attention. Because that's all they want. They just want the attention. Right? Keep going.
Come. With shamefacedness and sobriety.
With shamefacedness and sobriety. Listen, man, women got to have some shame. You got to have some shame about yourself. Them women didn't have no shame. That's why they tore up that restaurant. Good. That's why they tore it up, because ain't no shame. Right. And who gonna stop them? Listen, even as a black man, I walk in the store, I ain't stole nothing. But guess what? I can't look like I'm about to steal something either.
Right.
What? When I go in as a black man in the store, you know what I'm saying? My hands are a certain way. You know, I look around, you know what I'm saying? Because I know that if I look a certain type of way, they may think something. They may think that I did something.
Right.
Right? These women don't care about none of that. They don't care because nobody is there to check them. Nobody was there. That father that got kicked out of home, nobody was there to make sure that woman, that young woman, grew up into a older woman who would have some shamefacing about herself, some sobriety about herself.
Right.
Keep going.
Come. Not with broided hair, or gold, or pearls, or costly array. But which becometh women professing godliness with good works.
Right. How many of those women, you know what's a fascinating thing to me? We got a couple minutes. You know what the fascinating thing to me? You ever go into a club and try to talk to a woman and she say she a Christian?
Okay.
And then when you look at her, you see what she got on. You're like, this is a Christian?
Okay.
This is a Christian with her breast out, her behind all the way out, legs up to here. This is a Christian. This is how Christians dress. That's why the scriptures say, which becometh a woman professing godliness. You professing to be godly, but listen, you should have on some modest apparel.
Right.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced you a Christian. Right? Keep going.
Come. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection.
Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. Keep going.
Come. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence.
Right, man. She need to be in silence with all subjection. And he don't suffer a woman to teach. We're talking about the scriptures right here. Now, if your woman want to teach you how to make some biscuits, be my guest.
Right.
She want to teach you how to fold a blanket, be my guest. Knit a throw, whatever. I don't know. She want to teach you how to cook a dish. Hey, lead by all. Listen, whatever you want to do. But when it come down to serving the Most High, when it come down to these scriptures, silence. Right. You can't tell me nothing. Right. You can't tell me nothing. That's what Jesus said. You can't tell me nothing. All right, keep going.
Come. Verse 13. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived. See,
Adam wasn't the one that was deceived. Right? Adam knew. That's why Satan didn't go to him. He went to the woman. She was easily beguiled. Keep going.
Come. But the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
Right. The woman was the one that was deceived. We read the story. The woman got deceived, took it back to her husband, and then they both was messed up. Right? This is what we looking at here. This is how we looking in 2022, man. It's unruly. Right? Nobody is willing to step up and check these women. You know what I'm saying? And we're not, and the thing about it is we're not saying this so, men just go around telling women what to do. That's why the scriptures say, women, listen to your own husbands. You got a woman that you laying down with, that woman should listen to you, man. She should listen to you. She should do what you say, as unto the Lord. Right? That's what it should be, but it's not, because the serpent that's been talking to your woman since the beginning is talking to her now. It's telling her that she ain't got to listen to you. So what you got to do as a man, you got to come into this school, the ISUPK, under commanding General Yohana. We down here in Florida, Central Florida. We have classes, you know what I'm saying, all across the world for men and women alike to come in and change themselves, man. You got to change yourself, because this right here, just like the serpent lied to Eve and said, you will not surely die. Those women that tore up that restaurant, they don't think no consequences is coming down. You think they was thinking about consequences when they was throwing stuff? They weren't thinking about the consequences, because guess what? Nobody told them. Everybody told them, like, ain't nothing gonna happen to you.
Right.
You a woman. You ain't gonna die. But guess what? If what you said is right, and they in New York, and what you said is right, and if they decide to do something, somebody follow that story and find out if anything happened. I'll be surprised if it do. I'll be surprised if them women are put in cuffs for vandalism. I'll be surprised, because I guarantee you, if those were men doing that, the police would have been called immediately, and he would have been shot dead. A black man, he would have been shot dead. He would have been shot dead on sight with nothing in his hand. You understand what I'm saying? The only way you're gonna be able to fight that is with this truth, man. And the ISUPK under the command of General Yohana, and these brothers that we got over us that done been through the storms, man. They done been through it. They the ones teaching us, man. They the ones telling us and showing us how we can deal with this, because Israel is made up of men and women. So in order for us to get into order, then the order has to be set right. So it has to be the man first, and then it has to be the woman. And she has to be led in all subjection. She has to, because these women out here that's unruly, that have all this power, they making decisions on their own. They coming into this world making decisions on their own, and it's turning into a catastrophe. It's already a catastrophe.
Right.
Adam had a moment, a weak moment, and let his woman lead. Your woman shouldn't be leading your household, man. There's things that she can do. She can tell you how to cook. She can instruct on how to do that. She can make sure this house is good. You know what I mean? She can make business decisions. I think Proverbs 31 said that a woman considereth the field and purchase it. You got virtuous women out here buying property. There's other things you could do. But when it comes down to what we eat, when it comes down to who we serve, when it comes down to how we worship, when it comes down to what we do, you have no say-so in that.
Right.
The woman should have no say-so in that. You know why? Because she can be easily deceived. I'm not saying men can't be deceived, but I'm saying in the beginning, Adam wasn't deceived.
Right.
It was the woman that was deceived, which in turn deceived the man. Right? Y'all got any more questions? I'm going to get out of here, man. I could go all night. Y'all got any other questions? Anything?
No, sir.
All right. No sweat. All right. This is the ISUPK Florida Brotherhood class. I'm Officer LaPayade. Down here in Orlando. Like I said, again, we have classes down here in Central Florida in Kissimmee Hart Memorial Library on Tuesday, 6:30 to 8:30. I kind of went over the time today, going into the subject. I didn't even get into all of the scriptures I wanted to go over to, but I know we have more time to do it. Again, if you're in the Central Florida area, you can just get a number, a call. You know what I'm saying, find out about our classes, man. Get in class wherever you at. If you watching this and you somewhere else, man, there's a you can go to isupk.com. There's a listing of the school, and a number you can get in contact with somebody, man. Get in class, man. Get in class. This ain't no pyramid scheme. This ain't no nothing, that they don't cost you a thing. This is about building our nation up. This is about bringing blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans back to what thus saith the Lord. And you can see, if you have eyes to see, as the scriptures say, he that hath an ear, let him hear. But if you can see and you're listening to what's happening in the world, you can see that the power is shifting. Power is shifting, right? And it's being put into the hands of unruly people. It's been put into the hands of wicked people who don't care about what thus saith the Lord. But as priests and prophets, that's what we do. That's our job. That's our profession, to care about what thus saith the Lord. So we're going to continue to do that with these classes. We're going to continue to do that with speaking out on the corners. And you see us, you know what I mean? Come say what's up to the brothers, man. Bring some food down there, you know what I mean? And some waters or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, do something, you know what I mean? Be a help to these brothers, because these brothers, they came in here and changed their lives, and is out here risking their lives because they care about blacks and Hispanics, man, and natives. They care about them. Commanding General Yohana does, and that's why he raised up all these strong brothers from, you know, United Kingdom all the way to California. You know what I'm saying? What's some other schools we got down there?
West Indies.
Yes, exactly. Tobago. I think that's how it's pronounced. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna end the class. Again, I'm Officer LaPayade out of Florida, and we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. The water to everybody coming through, all the comments. We'll just hit you back next Tuesday. We'll be here. I think we'll have class tomorrow as well on the same channel. Hit us up. Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.